Hey Newsy, I'm Xamara, the host for today, with Alexis, Clay, and Jacob. Today we'll be talking about how to survive the last 2 weeks of the semester. Who would like to start off?
It's starting to come to a head. It seems like everything is ramping up very quickly. I found myself yesterday just entering zeros on the grading on Canvas just to see like how many assignments can I miss and still get a good grade in this class. Because it's just like trying to prioritize all of the things that need to be done in such a short period of time is getting a little bit stressful.
Yeah, dealing with that time management is super important. I can attest to personal experiences of procrastinating when it comes down the stretch, and you don't want to let all that stuff stack upon each other, let it overload, build your stress and anxiety up. So if you have the free time, save your future self and take care of your business now so you can have your free time in the future and be happy.
Whoever invented that feature for Canvas was a real sadist.
Right.
Because it lets people play with the variables infinitely for hours, and it's horrible. And I do the same thing, and it hurts.
Because you're like, no, I do have to do it. I have to do it after all.
And I have to get it to like this exact number. I need to get at least, I go and I calculate, I see how much can I get and still have 90 or more in the class.
Yeah, same thing. We should be more like Clay. He has good advice.
See, I have good advice, but that's
Hard to follow.
That's do as I say, not as I do.
Mm-hmm.
Because hard to follow. Because this past weekend, I was pretty much just slammed with assignments. So I'd rather not in 2 weeks be like I said, dealing with all my assignments all at once. So over the next 14 days or so, whenever I have my free time, I'm gonna try and really get ahead of myself and take care of my business.
That's really smart. I will try to take a page from your book and do the same.
I can't offer any advice that wouldn't be hypocritical. Like,
think
get
that's
some
okay.
sleep!
Yeah.
Sleep. That'll
College
happen.
students, no. No.
Yeah.
I've done so much writing stuff where it's like, where I start at say 7:30, 8 o'clock, and it's like all of a sudden after a while just free flowing. I'm looking at the clock and it's 11:15, and it's like 3.5 hours are just kind of gone, passed by just after subconsciously I guess like flowing, doing work.
It seems like it's harder to get started on the assignment than to actually do it. It's like it feels like it's a lot more overwhelming than it really is when you just sit down and get started. I found the same thing. I'm like, you know what, that wasn't so bad. That assignment was actually kind of interesting. I wish I wouldn't have put it off until the very last minute and just done it when it was assigned.
That's kind of like what Frankie was saying earlier in the semester. Like she was calling it writer's block or whatever, but I've got like early on in the semester I had one story at the halfway point, so I really didn't have a whole lot of work under my belt. But I realized like just putting stuff down, like whether it's quality or not, like just putting something down and building the foundation for at least what you're working on. Just getting started and getting to it. If you sit there, like, because I'm a person too where I just sit there and stare at my screen all frustrated about why I can't understand something, but it's just a matter of giving yourself a starting point.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I'm at the point in the semester where I figured out how to do an article a week consistently and always publish on a Tuesday. The key is that you write an intro, you write your whatever outline for an article, and then you write your intro paragraph, introduce the topic, and then stop and go and drink some tea, or if you're a normal person, some coffee, and relax and forget about the article and then continue it the next day, or if you're busy the day after that, review it with your editor over the weekend, review it with your other editor over Monday or Tuesday, and then upload it as soon as you're done, and then repeat the cycle. It's a lot of work, but it's efficient, I suppose.
Yeah, I was going to say, it seems like you've had a really good, consistent flow of articles all semester long.
Not all semester.
Oh.
My first article was February 18th. That was almost a month into the semester. And then the next one was like 3 weeks later. So it's been since like midterm.
But you figured it out and you got a process that works for you.
Eventually.
That's a good routine.
It is a good routine, but it's really, really tiring.
I like your idea of starting and then taking a little break. That's what I do as well, except I haven't been as disciplined with starting it right away. You know, I kind of worry about it and think about it and roll it over in my mind, and then I start it and then I take a little break.
Oh, sure. But
You know.
you start and then you worry about it.
Exactly.
You can still worry about it. You can still roll it over in your mind.
That's good advice.
That's what you do.
I'm gonna use that.
This applies it to maybe a little bit more of a smaller audience, but like when we're talking about writers and stories and whatever, at the beginning of the semester, like I was really struggling with like confidence in my writing. Professor Cox's class last semester gave me like a source of confidence because like I would get feedback and I knew what I was kind of doing and what I was doing right and wrong. But it took me a little bit to get over that because I don't want to put anything out there under my name that isn't of quality. So I don't know if it could be like stated enough that I think it's important to talk about like confidence with writing. Like you need to have confidence in what you're doing and what you're saying, how you're going about it. Can't be so not critical. Critical is always a good thing, but you don't want to be too tough on yourself.
Yeah, like don't be a perfectionist. I think it's important to recognize that anything that you're learning, you might not always look good doing it because you're trying new things, right? But as you do it more and more and put more articles out, hopefully you'll see your own writing improving just by the experience. I think
Also-
sometimes people hold themselves back because they don't think they're good enough.
Important thing to remember, we do have editors. That's kind of their
We
job.
do. They're great editors.
They are, yes. So you write, you fix whatever mistakes you notice, and then you throw up your hands and send it to the editor and let it become their problem until it becomes your problem again. For a while at least. While they're busy with other stuff.
Yeah, I need that mentality. I need that carefree.
It's not carefree, it's surrendering to fate.
Yeah,
This is
surrender
audio.
is a
People
good
can't
word.
see you putting your hands up like this. Give it to your editor.
Yeah, surrender is a good word for it. At a certain point, you just have to let it go and move on.
Professor Cox used to like to, he used to say like he's dead. He's not dead. But
I think it's right about it.
he was right about it. Professor Cox would tell us all the time, your editor is your god. He'd say it like that. I'm not making that up, right?
No,
Okay,
not
back,
at all.
back me up here.
Not at all.
He would say, your editor is your god. Just start treating it like that. Just start treating it like it's a god, right? Like, okay, this is not my problem anymore. This is God's problem. I'm telling God.
That's funny.
Is there any tips or advice you would give for incoming students next semester?
Just in general?
Just in general about like how to manage time, like what to expect coming into a next semester, seeing these last 2 weeks.
I'll start this off. I'd say just getting out of your comfort zone and talking with other students, like communicate, interact. It's really common in this whole podcast room that we're in right now. 3 of us had the same class last semester, but I don't really think ever, besides me and Jacob talked. We sat next to each other.
We did.
But a good majority of this class never really talked all too much to each other until we were all kind of in this Mesa Press class this semester. So just get out of your comfort zone, be willing to try and develop and create new relationships. And yeah, I think it's a lot easier going through stuff with people who understand what you're going through. Being able to communicate, rant, vent, talk, hang out, whatever it is. Just emphasis of that, get outside of your comfort zone.
And part of that is talk to your professors, please, for the love of God.
That's a good one.
Talk to your professors, whoever they are, even if you don't like them. And there have been professors that I haven't liked. It happens to everyone. Talk to them anyway. Pretend you like them. Rant about them later to other people who are out of earshot of that professor or anybody who would tell them. But talk to your professors, use them as a resource. That's their job.
Yes, and I would say that Clay's advice of starting early on with managing the homework and the assignment rather than putting things off is going to allow you to be a lot happier and more peaceful consistently throughout the semester. It might feel like it's not as much fun, but it will ultimately give you more time and peace of mind if you can find a schedule that works for you, like how Jacob publishes on Tuesdays. You know, some kind of process that really works for you to be consistent and stay on top of your work rather than let things pile up around big points of the semester like midterms and finals.
The nice thing with that repeating weekly process is that it almost becomes automated. Like, obviously I'm not using, I don't know, ChatGPT or whatever. I'm above that. But it becomes almost automatic. I publish today, hopefully, Tuesday, and then outline the next article tomorrow, write the intro to it the day after that, write the bulk of the article over the weekend, send it to whichever editor I need to send it to, and then edit in class with the chief editor, or one of the chief editors, and then upload, and then repeat. It becomes automated. You don't need to think about it as much.
It's impressive discipline for sure. It takes a lot of discipline.
No, that's the nice thing. You build up the routine, and then you let it repeat itself, and you just follow the Ferris wheel, basically.
Oh, is this routine? No, that's a good picture. Little Ferris wheel.
I mean, you gotta do stuff. You gotta pedal to make the Ferris wheel move, but
Pedal. So
What kind of Ferris
electric
wheel
bike?
is this, Jacob?
I didn't sleep enough. Okay, leave me alone.
Is there anything you guys wish you knew prior to this semester or these upcoming 2 weeks that you wish you guys knew before?
P-values. That's my answer.
Is that like stats or something?
That's stats.
Well, just in
Yes.
general, like what resources you wish you guys knew about beforehand.
I never took advantage of this, but I wish I did, especially being a journalism major. But I remember my oral interpretation of literature teacher, Professor Dawes, that was his name. But there's a library class or something, and it's a 6-week class or about that time frame. But it teaches you all of the necessary skills for navigating a library and doing research, finding sources, and again, like I said, navigating, being able to go out into an open library, pick out and understand where you need to be looking and whatever. So I thought that was always as far as a class being offered, that was a really good resource. And it's only 6 weeks and offered some sort of credits. It was minimal, but I wish I took advantage of that because I think that library studying is an important tool for any major, any student.
Yeah,
That's
that
advice
is
I
really
need to learn to
interesting.
follow. I don't use the library at all. I need to. I should.
You might use it if you really knew how, though. You know, from
True.
because I think a library is a little bit of a mystery to a lot of us.
It's intimidating.
Yeah.
It's a lot of books.
On that
a lot of
note,
books, a lot of shelves.
if you all have professors who are making you credit your sources with .edu, .gov instead of some Wikipedias, .coms, I don't think this is super well known to everybody, but if you go on, like, people know what Google Scholar is, and when you go on Google Scholar, sometimes there's a paywall blocking the books or articles that you're trying to get to, but your campus, your school, their library, they pay whatever subscription it is in order to bypass a lot of these sort of paywalls for these scholarly written articles. So I don't know if that's super well known, honestly, because I've always struggled with these sorts of assignments growing up, but honestly, that was something I figured out pretty recently. So going through the school's online library page, you're able to get all the access to these scholarly articles that you need to.
That's really good to know too.
Doesn't work for everything, but it helps. I've actually known that since high school by accident. I would just go on articles for essays, and it would say, "What is your institution?" It's like, "What institution? I'm not crazy."
Not in that way.
And then I learned.
Well, that concludes our podcast for today. Thank you for listening. We hope to see you in the next one.
Take care, everybody.